You reach into the back of your fridge and pull out a carton of milk. You check the date. It says it expired yesterday. You sniff it. It smells fine. You take a sip. It tastes perfect. So why are you suddenly terrified that you're drinking poison? Why do we treat a tiny stamped date on a plastic bottle like a law of nature? We see these dates on water, on salt that is millions of years old, and even on the medicine meant to save our lives. But here's the secret that big companies don't want you to know. Those dates, they might not mean what you think they do. In fact, for most of human history, they didn't even exist. Welcome to the Subject History. For thousands of years, humans had a very simple way of knowing if food was safe. We used our senses. We smelled, we touched, and we tasted. If the bread was hard, it was old. If the meat smelled foul, you threw it away. It was common sense. But as the world moved from quiet farms to crowded, smoking cities during the Industrial Revolution, something changed. People weren't growing their own food anymore. They were buying it from strangers in distant factories. Suddenly, the trust was gone. By the early 20th century, food wasn't just old, it was dangerous. Shady businessmen were adding chemicals like formaldehyde to milk to keep it looking fresh. People were getting sick, and some were dying. The public was terrified. They demanded to know, how old is this food? But the solution didn't come from the government. It came from a man who was obsessed with freshness. You might know his name, Al Capone. Yes, the legendary mob boss. Legend has it that after a family member got sick from spoiled milk, Capone used his influence to lobby for expiration dates on milk bottles in Chicago. He wanted to protect the public, or as some historians whisper, he just wanted a way to control the local dairy market. Regardless of his motives, the seed was planted. People loved the idea of a safety date. But this is where things get strange, because once the dates appeared, they never left. By the 1970s, consumers were demanding dates on everything. They wanted a guarantee of safety. Retailers realized something incredible. If you put a date on a can of beans and that date passes, the consumer won't just throw it away, they will come back and buy a new one. It was a gold mine. What happened next changed everything. Governments began to realize that there was no universal standard for these dates. Today, in many parts of the world, best before doesn't mean toxic after. It's actually a guess by the manufacturer about when the food will taste its absolute best. It's about quality, not safety. But we don't see it that way, do we? We see a best before date on a bottle of water and think the water has gone bad. But think about it. That water has been underground for 10,000 years. Does it really expire just because it sat in a plastic bottle for 6 months? The truth is shocking. Every year, we throw away billions of tons of perfectly good food because of a stamp on a label. We have traded our natural instincts for a printed number. We are so afraid of a date that we've forgotten how to trust our own noses. We live in a world where we've automated our caution, and in doing so, we've created a mountain of waste that the earth can't handle. So, the next time you look at that carton of milk or that box of crackers, ask yourself, is the food actually bad, or are you just following a ghost in the machine? History shows us that these dates were born out of fear and greed, but today they've become a habit we can't seem to break. If this story changed the way you look at your kitchen, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Here at the Subject History, we unbox the hidden stories behind the things we take for granted every day. Stay curious, stay sharp, and we'll see you in the next chapter of our past.